Let's be honest. When you've got 9 figures in the bank, you assume everything has a price tag. Private islands? Check space trips? Easy. But here's the thing that'll mess with your head. There are cars on this planet that even Jeff Bezos can't buy. Not because he's short on cash, but because they literally aren't for sale. We're talking about machines so exclusive, so revolutionary, and so impossibly rare that money becomes meaningless. These aren't just cars sitting in some billionaire's garage waiting for the right offer. They're engineering dreams that exist in a world beyond commerce, where exclusivity isn't about wealth. It's about something much more complex. And once you see what makes these machines truly untouchable, you'll understand why the ultra-rich sometimes have to sit on the sidelines and watch like everyone else. The thing about true exclusivity is that it can't be bought. It has to be earned, created, or simply stumbled upon.
Separately, so what you get is you can drive in different unique ways. This thing can literally drive sideways, it can drive diagonally. Obviously in the front, what you have is the Mercedes-Benz logo.
Take the Mercedes-Benz Vision AVTR. There's exactly one in existence, and it's not sitting in some collector's warehouse. It's a collaboration between Mercedes and the creators of AVTR, built to showcase technology that doesn't even fully exist yet. The entire body glows. The wheels can rotate 30 degrees to move sideways like a crab, and those 33 bionic flaps on the back shift and pulse like the car is breathing. But here's the kicker. Mercedes never intended to sell it. It's a rolling laboratory, a glimpse into automotive futures that might happen in 20 years. Even if you showed up at Stuttgart with $1 billion check, they'd politely escort you out. Because some things aren't about money. They're about preserving the impossible. The BMW GINA takes this concept even further. Instead of metal panels, the entire body is made of flexible fabric stretched over a carbon fiber frame. The headlights blink awake like eyes. The hood peels open like flower petals, and the interior reshapes itself based on what you need. It's less car, more living sculpture. BMW spent years perfecting this shape-shifting technology, but they built exactly one. Not because they couldn't mass produce it, but because mass production would kill what makes it special. The GINA exists to prove that cars don't have to be static objects. And that proof? It's priceless. But exclusivity gets even stranger when you dive into the world of concept cars that push physics to its limits. The Porsche Mission X isn't just rare, it's specifically designed to be untouchable. Porsche's goal is simple: build the fastest road-legal car to ever lap the Nürburgring. We're talking about a power-to-weight ratio that could produce over 1,300 horsepower, wrapped in aerodynamics so advanced that downforce generation exceeds even their GT3 RS. Here's where it gets interesting. Porsche could sell this car tomorrow and make hundreds of millions. But they won't, because Mission X isn't about profit, it's about legacy. They want to create something so definitively fast that it stands alone in automotive history. And you can't put a price on being definitively the best. The Audi Skysphere operates on similar principles, but with a different kind of impossible. This car literally transforms at the push of a button, stretching nearly 10 inches longer for autonomous cruising, then shrinking into a compact sports car when you want to drive. The steering wheel and pedals retract completely. The interior reconfigures itself, and the whole experience shifts from relaxed luxury to focused performance. Audi built this to showcase their vision for Level 4 autonomy. Cars that can drive themselves in specific environments while transforming into driver-focused machines when you want control. But selling it would mean compromising the technology before it's ready. So it sits in their facility, demonstrating futures that regular consumers aren't prepared for yet. The psychology of automotive exclusivity runs deeper than most people realize. Companies like Toyota push this concept to its absolute extreme with vehicles like the Lunar cruiser. This isn't just a car you can't buy. It's a car designed for a place most humans will never visit. Toyota built it specifically for moon exploration, complete with joystick controls, radiation shielding, and storage systems for spacesuits and survival gear. Could they adapt the technology for Earth-based vehicles? Absolutely. Will they sell you a lunar cruiser for your daily commute? Not in this lifetime. Because some engineering exists purely to prove it's possible, not to generate revenue. The Honda Zero Series takes a different approach to exclusivity. They're building cars that won't exist until 2026, and even then, only in limited markets. The saloon concept features a steering yoke instead of a wheel, posture-controlling seats that use robotics to optimize comfort, and a steer-by-wire system that completely eliminates physical connection between steering and wheels. Honda isn't withholding this technology to be difficult. They're waiting until infrastructure, regulations, and consumer expectations catch up to what they've created. Sometimes the most exclusive thing isn't a car, it's the timing. But the real mind-bender is when exclusivity becomes about preserving history rather than showcasing the future. The Mercedes concept. IAA represents something fascinating, a car that transforms automatically based on speed. Drive normally, and it looks like an elegant sedan. Hit 80 kilometers per hour, and aerodynamic panels extend. The rear stretches nearly 40 centimeters, and the entire shape shifts to achieve a drag coefficient of just 0.19. Mercedes could produce this technology. The engineering is sound, the benefits are real, and wealthy customers would line up to buy it. But they won't sell it because it represents a complete philosophy of automotive design. That form should be fluid, not static. And philosophies aren't products. The Sony Vision S02 operates in similar territory, but for different reasons. Sony built this electric SUV to test their entertainment and AI technologies in automotive environments. 7-seater capacity, 536 horsepower, screens for every passenger, and PlayStation connectivity that lets you game while traveling. But Sony isn't a car company. They're a technology company using automotive platforms to demonstrate what entertainment could become. Selling cars would distract from their core mission of revolutionizing how we interact with technology. So they test, they demonstrate, and they keep the actual vehicles locked away from commerce. The strangest part about these untouchable machines is how they reveal the limits of wealth itself. Take the Bentley EXP 100 GT, an electric Grand Tour with 1,400 horsepower, 435-mile range, and interior luxury that redefines what's possible. Biometric seats that monitor your vitals, AI that adjusts everything based on your emotional state, and a glass canopy with embedded prisms that recreate specific lighting conditions like sunset on command. Bentley could charge $5 million for this car and sell every unit they built. But they won't, because the EXP 100 GT isn't about transportation. It's about demonstrating what luxury could become when technology eliminates all constraints. And that demonstration has value that transcends money. The Nissan Hyperforce, Hypertourer, and Hyperpunk concepts push this exclusivity even further. 1,300 horsepower wrapped in adaptive aerodynamic panels, levitation-inspired design that hides the wheels completely, and polygon-shaped bodies that look like glitched video game models brought to life. Nissan built these to show that automotive design doesn't have to follow conventional rules. Sharp angles, digital exhaust effects, origami-inspired controls, and real-world to manga visual transformation systems that turn driving into animated adventures. But selling them would mean compromising the artistic vision for practical considerations like crash testing and mass production. Here's what billionaires don't understand about these machines. Exclusivity isn't always about ownership. The truth is that companies create these untouchable vehicles for reasons that transcend profit. They're testing grounds for technology that won't be ready for consumers for decades. They're artistic statements about what transportation could become. They're philosophical explorations of the relationship between humans and machines. And sometimes, they're simply proof that in a world where everything seems purchasable, some things remain beyond the reach of commerce. The BMW i Vision Dee can change colors across 32 different shades using 240 electronic panels, display facial expressions on its digital grille, and recognize drivers before they even touch the car. It represents a future where vehicles become emotional companions rather than mechanical tools. The The Toyota Concept i goes even further, featuring an AI assistant named Yui that learns your emotional patterns, offers to take control when you're stressed, and builds a lifetime relationship that transfers between vehicles. Toyota envisions this technology creating connections between humans and machines that last decades. Even Toyota's legendary engineering discipline bows to this principle of untouchable exclusivity. Their Concept i doesn't just learn your driving patterns, it studies your emotional responses, heart rate variations, and stress indicators to become a lifelong digital companion. The AI assistant Yui builds relationships that span decades, transferring between vehicles and evolving with your life stages. Toyota could monetize this emotional intelligence tomorrow, but they won't compromise the purity of human-machine bonding for profit. The BMW i Vision Dee pushes emotional connectivity even further with its 240-panel color-changing exterior and facial expression displays. This isn't just personalization. It's automotive empathy, where your car becomes an extension of your personality. BMW envisions futures where vehicles recognize your mood before you do, adapting everything from ambient lighting to route selection based on biometric feedback. But selling these systems would mean releasing them before society is ready. And premature release could damage the very relationships they're designed to create. The reality is that true automotive exclusivity exists in a space beyond money, beyond ownership, beyond traditional luxury. These machines represent something that billionaires' wealth can't touch. The cutting edge of what's possible, preserved in its purest form, uncompromised by commercial considerations. They're not cars in the traditional sense. They're glimpses into automotive futures that may or may not ever arrive, protected from the corrupting influence of market demands. And maybe that's exactly how it should be. Because once you put a price tag on the impossible, it stops being impossible. It just becomes expensive. That's the thing about cars even billionaires can't afford. They remind us that some forms of exclusivity can't be bought, only witnessed. And in a world where everything seems to have a price, that might be the most valuable thing of all.